Hello everyone, in this Python programming video lecture we will discuss about how to create what is Python list, what is a list, that is what is a list in Python, and how to create a empty Python list, and what is list of built-in function in Python, and we will discuss something about how to access elements in list, Python list, that is nothing but Python list indexing, and we will see some sample codes to create number list in Python, string list and character list. First, what is a Python list? A list in a Python is a data structure that can store elements of different types. That is, list is a set which can store elements of any type, maybe integer, float, or string, character, or maybe list also. It can store any list inside. So that is about Python list. In order to create a Python list, we just have to assign a variable to a set. Here whatever we insert in between these square brackets forms a list. This is very simple in Python. To create a list, just have to use square brackets that is assigned to a variable. So now here A is a list. You can print a list directly in Python, that is by using print command. There is no it is very simple compared to other programming languages. We can run this. So empty list is printed here by using just print statement, and this is one type of list creation. In another type is by using list of built-in function. This also creates empty list. This will generate, built-in function will generate empty list if you don't mention any parameters inside this list function. If we give any parameters, it will generate some random elements in Python. We will see about that later. So this will also print create empty Python list, and same will be printed here, empty list. So these are the two ways to create a empty Python list. Now we will see about Python indexing. So first, before going to indexing part, we will see about how to insert. I have mentioned already, it can store elements of any data types. So now it can store integer, float, and string, Python, and any character also. It can store also tuple. Tuple is nothing but whatever is there in between these brackets, not square brackets. In these brackets, whatever it is there, it forms a tuple. So in between you can store like this. So this is the tuple data structure in Python. We will say about this tuple in coming video lectures. I am just using this to show you list can store any data type. So we can directly print it with using one statement, as I already mentioned before. So now it will print all the list with single statement. This is the simplicity of Python. And as I mentioned you, so in order to index any element in Python, we just have to indexing will start from 0. So 12 is stored at index 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So now if you want to print this tuple, you just have to mention index of this tuple. So it is at index 4. So if you want to print any element from list, you just have to use this list variable followed by square brackets, and between these square brackets you just have to mention index of that element. So now I want to print this tuple, so I am using the index 4. It will start from 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So tuple is at index 4, so I am using index 4. So now it will print the total tuple 1, 2, 3. So this is how indexing works. Now if you want to print each and every element in list, you can use for loops. So there are two methods to print all the elements in the list. So one method, there are three methods directly. So first method is directly printing the whole list by using this print A. But if you want to print each and every element in the list separately, you can use for loops like this. For I in A, print I. Here I am using comma to print all the elements separated by spaces, separated by spaces. So I am using comma here. It will add a space after each element. So what I am doing here is, here I will point to, directly will point to elements, not to index. So when I use this loop, first I will be 12, next it will be 3.2. So now I directly will point to the any element in the list until all the elements are iterated. This loop will run. So this is the major advantage in Python, so that directly you can element instead of the index from a list. In other programming languages, if you want to print any element, you have to access. Suppose in C, if you want to access any element, you have to use indexing method. If you want to access any array element in C, you have to use indexing. Here, without indexing also, we can directly access the element. Here I will directly point out element, and we can print that element directly. After we run this, so just now we printed each and every element followed by spaces. So this is the best advantage in Python. You can access the element directly in loops also without using indexing. And we mentioned already, and if you want to access element by indexing, so previously I mentioned, if you want to access element by indexing, you have to use a followed by index here. So I have to will print Python 0 1 2. So if you want to print all the elements by using indexing, first you have to know the list size in Python. That is, now it will size a variable. Now len is a built-in function in Python by which we can get the size of any element. Like you can get the size of string Python also. You can get the size of this list. So size of the list is 5. Now if I print this size, I will get the size of the list. Print list size is list size is 5. So here I am using comma to separate, to just to add a space between these two. So I am using comma here. So if in order to get the size of the list, you just have to use built-in function len. In between you have to mention that list variable. So this is how to get the list size in Python. And if you want to access each and every element by using for loop with indexing, for I in, we have to use mention range from 0 to size. Here size is nothing but length of the list. Print, I mentioned already, if you want to access any element by indexing, you have to use variable followed by square brackets. In between square brackets you have to mention index here. Here I is nothing but index. In between I is index here. In between I is directly a element in before method I already mentioned. Here I is nothing but an index here. So what will happening here is, your range will give a indexing numbering from 0 to this size is nothing but here 5. From 0 to 5 indexing will start here. You can do like this also. If you don't mention here anything, it will take defaultly from 0. So it will print all the elements by using indexing here. Range will give indexing iterate from given size. So if you want to print if you want to exclude first two elements, you can directly give here 0 1 2. That is, it will exclude. If you want to print from here only, so I am excluding here first two parts, like 0 and 1. I am printing this third way. From 2 I am printing all the variables. So by this way, first parameter is nothing but from where we have to print. So last parameter is for up to where we have to print. So if you want to print between 2 and 4 only, here 4 is here, these two parameters are to define for which variables we have to iterate in that in this list. So I am giving here 4. What it will print is, it will iterate from, see, it will iterate only second and third element, 0 1 2 3 4. So if you give here size is 5, so it will iterate to 2 3. So I am giving here 4, so it will iterate only 2 3 elements and give, and I will be the index. First it will be second index, then it will be third index. So I am printing the elements which are at second index and third index. So this is the second way for Python list indexing. Now we will see sample codes for Python list built-in function to create a number list, string list and character list. First we will see about character list. So if you want to generate list directly, so we will remove all these things and we will see. Okay, let it be here. I don't want this. So LL means I am defining for list variable. So if you want to generate character list from a string, you just have to use this built-in function and give your string in this argument list. So it will take each and every character and will insert into a list. LL is a list variable. So now LL will be having each character as an element in this list. So this is the very simple way. So you may be having doubts how this list built-in function works. Built-in function list will work in the same way as for loop in Python. So we will see this briefly. So here B is a string, and if you want any character in this string, we will access like this. For I in B, print I. So what I am telling is, here list in built-in function will work in the same way as this loop, and whatever it I am printing, it will be just inserted into this list. So nothing but list will be having this function in the inside. So this is how list works. This is how developers developed it. In the same way, list built-in function will work in the same way as for loop will works in Python. So this is what I want to tell you. You can see the output of this also. So it will print Python Python, and this is my list function, built-in function prints. So both are printing the same output. So this is how they both works. So instead of writing this and inserting into list, you can directly insert with just built-in function. So now what I have done is I have printed a character list, Python code to generate character list. Now we have done this, and we will see about generating string list. Suppose A is a tuple which will contain strings, only strings. Python programming tutorial. So now if you want to generate list from this tuple, just you have to give input as a so input I am giving a variable as input argument to this list. Now it will convert this tuple into the list by using this list built-in function. So you can see the output. See, each and every string is assigned to inserted into a list by using this list function. This is one method to create a string list. We will see the another method also, but you have confusion, right? How it is working? I already mentioned it will work like this for loop. So for I in a, print I. If you can see, if for loop is giving some output, same will be given by this list built-in function. So if you have any doubts, check it with this for loop. So if this for loop is printing each and everything separately, so it is printing each and every string separately followed by spaces. So built-up list function also will work in the same way. So this is one more method to create string list. Now we will see about how to create number list in Python. This is somewhat interesting. So now a number list will contain only numbers like numbers from 1 2 3 4 5 something like this. You can print like this, print here. But if you want to, this is my manual creation of a number list. If you want to create through some codes, you can create like this. Like you can use this built-in function, and you can mention. I have already told you about range. It will have 3 parameters. Like it will, if you give like this, first if you give only one parameter, it will range from 0 to less than that number. So it will range from 0 to 4, and it will print, and it will be assigned to the list. This listen function will insert this range parameter range values into that list, and it will form a list there. So if you print this, you will have numbers from 0 to 4, 0 1 2 3 4. So now if you give the starting position also, this is the starting position. It will have numbers from 1 to 10. So in order to create number list from Python list having numbers from 1 to 10, from 1 to 10, I can use this single statement. List range will enter from 1 to 10, and it will assign all these elements into this list by using this list built-in function. So this is how it works. So if you want to have numbers, there is also one more parameter, one more argument to this range function, that is third argument, that is the difference between these numbers. So if you give 1, if you don't give anything, it will take defaultly as 1. If you want to mention like the difference between the two consecutive numbers is 2 now, so it will print. So after the output I will show you. So difference between these two consecutive numbers is 2 here. See, from between 1 and 3 difference is 2, between 3 and 5 difference is 2, between 5 and 7 difference is 2, between 7 and 9 difference is 2. So if you want to mention difference, you can use third argument here. You can give difference also 3 4 something like that. So this is how we are generating. This is the starting position, this is the ending position, this is the difference. So this is the range function uses. By combining range and list, we can generate many lists. So if you want to have, we will see, this is if you want to have only even numbers. So we will see one more example. List having even numbers from in between 1 to 20, in between 1 to 30. Our task is to print. Our task is to generate a list having even numbers between 1 to 30. So you can just create it just with one line of code. So that is like age list variable. So I am using list built-in function here, and I will use range also. I in range 1 comma 31. So because I want to include 30 also, so I am using that one. And if you want to check, that is if even number or not, so we can do that by like this, by using percentile modulus operator. If it is divisible by 2, then it is even number, as we already know. So this single line of code will generate even numbers from 1 to 30. So what is happening here is, first I am taking a loop here. So loop here from 1 to 30, so numbers will be from 1 to 30, and checking each and every number that is divisible by 2 or not. If it is divisible by 2, and I am inserting into a list here by just mentioning the number here, so it will be inserted into a list if and only if it is divisible by 2. So this is very simple creation of a list here. So finally I have even list which is having even numbers from 1 to 30, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, like this, and 130. So this is very useful code and very tricky code. Now we have seen how to create number list also, and there is, if you want to have 10 random list containing, we will see one more example. Like these are sample projects for beginners. List containing random numbers from 1 to 10. Only random numbers, whatever it can pick, and the list size may be 10, something like this. We can see this. But if you want to have random numbers, you have to import a random module into our program. Then if you want to create list, as I already mentioned, give a equal to list of random dot randint comma 1 to 10. Randint will take 2 arguments, that is from where to where. So here it is showing in range a to 10, a to b, that is I am giving range 1 to 10. So it will have, list will have numbers from between the range 1 to 10, and if you want to have size for I in range, it will iterate so 0 to 4. So list will be having 5 numbers which are in the range 1 to 10. So I am giving here range just to show every time it will pick up a random number for 5 times, and it will insert into the list. So final list will be 5 random numbers. So I think you understand this. If you have any, see, I got 5 random numbers from 1 to 10. So here I am describing, here I am giving a how many times I have to pick up the random number. So I am just using this for loops to just to show that how many times I have to pick up a random number from 1 to 10. So that's why I am using this for loop here. And randint is a function which I have imported from random module here. So random.randint is a function, and it will accept 2 arguments, that is the beginning and start position and end position, and this between these 2 positions it will pick up on a random element. So this is how I create a random list. And if you want to create the same list instead of this list, you can also use a equal to, instead of this list there is one more method I mentioned before, that is instead of list you can use the insert directly in between the square brackets. It will also work in the same way as list, as I mentioned before. So 5 random numbers I have generated by using the square brackets instead of list built-in function. So these are the ways to create a number list, English character list. And thanks for watching this video. In my next lecture I will show about how to insert elements into a list by using Python append built-in function, and remove delete numbers, delete element from a list, and we can see also list slicing and many more list operations in Python. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hope to see you again.